القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Sura Al-Tawba, verse 55. فَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ. Their wealth and their families, their children. It means the families, the money, the properties of disbelievers who don't have true faith in Allah. And they are given so many mercies by Allah. They may have a comfortable, luxurious life. But this comfortable life must not impress you. You believers, you must not be impressed. لا تعجبك. You must not be impressed by their properties, their wealth, their families, children. إنما يريد الله ليعذبهم بها في الحياة الدنيا. Do you know the purpose of those mercies? Actually, for a believer, for a disbeliever. Because if someone is in the right path, every mercy, every ni'mah he receives from Allah, he spends it in the right way, as long as he is committed to the religion. But a disbeliever who is following his worldly desires, إنما يريد الله ليعذبهم بها في الحياة الدنيا. God only wants to punish them, to make them suffer by these na'amat, these mercies in this world. So it is not a real comfort. Allama Tabatabai says, what is a happy life? What is a felicitous life? A life in which one attends to what is actually beneficial to him, not something which seems beneficial. So the person who attends to his worldly desires, he may think that now he is enjoying the mercies, the life he has. But the money, the family, whatever he has, which is a source of comfort for him, it is indeed a source of punishment, because it is making him further from God and from his obedience. So it is distancing him from what is the real factor of happiness, and that is obedience, because it will finally lead him to fire, to the eternal punishment. So it is not happiness in life. This life is not a happy life. Apart from that, even the desires, the worldly desires, they are conflicting. So the person who seeks pleasures of this life cannot gain them all together, because one pleasure opposes another. وَتَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ. God only wants to punish them with what they think is a source of comfort for them. وَتَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ, and that they die in a state of disbelief. وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. تَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ means die, but تَزْهَقَ literally means to get out with difficulty. When something exists with hardship, it is zuhuq. Anfus means selves. Here it means souls. When the souls depart their bodies, which is death, وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ, while they are disbelievers in the state of disbelief. وَيَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُمْ لَمِنْكُمْ. They swear by God. As we said, these ayat talk about hypocrites. So when we said they are not believing in God, we meant they don't have a true belief. Otherwise, they at least pretend to be a part of the believers' community. They يحلفون بالله. They swear by Allah that they are from you. وَمَا هُمْ مِنْكُمْ, but they are not from you. Lying. وَلَكِنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ يَفْرَقُونَ, they are indeed people who يَفْرَقُونَ. Faraq means to be worried about a possible danger, a possible threat. So they are worried about what will happen. They are not really believers. They just pretend. لو يجدون ملجأ أو مغارات أو مدخلا لولوا إليه. If they are now with you, this is because they are worried about some consequences. Otherwise, if they find somewhere to flee, they would have not stopped for a moment. لو يجدون, if they had found ملجأ, مغارات, مدخل, 3 terms. ملجأ means refuge. مغارات is the plural of مغارة. مغارة literally means a place where a person gets into it and hides himself from others. But more commonly is used for the caves in the mountains. And مدخل. مدخل is different from madkhal. Madkhal means entrance, a place where someone enters. But مدخل, which comes from الدخال, it means to get into something or some place with some effort. It's not easy to get into. So you must plan and put effort to be able to do it. So if they had found refuge or a cave or caves or a place with this description, مدخلا, to enter, لولوا إليه, they would have turned to those places. وهم يجمحون, I mean very quickly. This word is used for someone who runs very fast and does not care about anything. No one can stop him. So وهم يجمحون, with this speed they would turn toward those places and they would have left you. ومنهم من يلمزك في الصدقات. Again, about munafiqeen, hypocrites. Some of them criticize you about sadaqat, charities, zakat. فإن أعطوا منها رضوا. If they are given from sadaqat, if you give a part of zakat to them, they are happy. وإن لم يعطوا منها إذا هم يسخطون. If they are not given from zakat, if you don't give them anything, they are sad and they are angry with you. ولو أنهم رضوا ما آتاهم الله ورسوله وقالوا حسبنا الله. Law here is for tamanni. Some translators of the Quran, they translate it as adatu shart, or condition. Law means if. But Allah Ta'ala says law here is for tamanni, an expression of wish. لو أنهم رضوا. It was so good if this happened. What? لو أنهم رضوا ما آتاهم الله. If they were happy with what God and His Messenger gave them. So now this ayah imagines a situation in which a part of zakat is given to some people, some munafiqeen, some hypocrites, but they at least expressed their this sentence that hasbunallah, that God is sufficient for us. At least after getting this part of zakat, it is a wish that they did so. They appreciated what they were given and they showed belief in Allah and that everything they receive is from Allah. But it is just a wish. It is not to be accomplished, because even if they get, they would not show that faith in Allah. وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ. So you see, now we are imagining a situation in which they are happy with what God gave them, what the Messenger gave them from zakat, and they say, حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ, God is sufficient for us. سَيُؤْتِينَ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Allah will give us out of His grace. وَرَسُولُهُ, the Messenger will give us. إِنَّا إِلَى اللَّهِ رَاغِبُونَ. We turn willingly toward Allah. but this is only a wish. And there is another point in this ayah. Allah says this ayah shows the monotheistic literature of the Quran. Here, in this ayah, we have different terms and verbs, ata, fadl, hasbuna. Some of them are attributed to both God and His Messenger. For example, to give, atahumullah wa rasuluh, to give them something. Ayah says God gives them and the Messenger gives them something. سَيُؤْتِينَ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. In the future also, God will give us and the Messenger will give us something. But when it talks about hasbuna, it's sufficient for us. It's only God. Hasbunallah. This is the Tawheedi literature of Quran, that it is not attributed to others. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها. This ayah is a famous ayah in the Quran, especially in the chapter of zakat in books of jurisprudence. It is known as Ayatul Zakat. It explains the uses of zakat. Now that zakat is collected, how should it be spent? The word sadaqat is general. It is not only for obligatory zakat. It can include recommendable charities. But this ayah is considered as the legislation for uses of the obligatory zakat, because the last one of the last phrases in the ayah says faridatan min Allah, an obligation from Allah. So it shows it is about the obligatory zakat. 8 groups are mentioned in this ayah, and ayah shows that zakat must be divided and given to all these groups. Every group has a share. للفقراء, for the poor. والمساكين, masakin is also the poor, but to make a difference between these two, we can say masakin has reached the extreme point of poverty, because the poverty had reached a level when the person is now humiliated. Maskana and dhilla, humiliation. Now he has begged for money. He has asked some others for money. But faqir is more general. The person doesn't have enough funds to fulfill his needs, but he may not have reached that level. Both are eligible to receive zakat. وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا. عَلَيْهَا, ha refers to sadaqat. It means al-amilina ala sadaqat. Amilin, those employed, those who work or employed. About zakat, it means they are employed to collect zakat. So those who collect zakat have a share of zakat itself. وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ. Qulub means the hearts. Mu'allafa means to bring together. Those whose hearts are to be brought together. There are some people who are not within the Muslim community, the believers community. They are not believers, but you may give them some money, a share of zakat as an incentive, either to attract them toward faith, or at least to encourage them to do some service to Muslims, or to protect Muslims against some external enemies. وَفِي الرِّقَابِ. الرِّقَاب means the slaves. It is to free the slaves. When, for example, a slave in a very hard conditions, we have cases in Islamic jurisprudence that some part of zakat, a portion of zakat must be paid to release that slave. Or there are some slaves who have contracts with their masters, according to which they must pay certain amount of money over time to be freed. But now they have problems and they cannot pay the due amount. So they can get assistance from zakat. وَالْغَارِمِينَ, the ones in debt, who are not able to repay their loans or their debts. Now they can be assisted from zakat. وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, and in the way of Allah, in Allah's way. It's very broad. Allah Ta'ala says one example is jihad. Other examples is the infrastructure, building bridges, building roads, constructing roads. وابن السبيل. وابن السبيل means the person who has financial problem in journey, stranded traveler. He may be rich at home, but now in the journey he has lost his money. Now again, from zakat, a part can be given to this person. For some of these groups, lam is used, lil fuqara. Masakin is atf, is connected to fuqara. Amilin and mu'allaf also are connected to them. But then we say wa fir riqab, about slaves. Gharimin, fi sabilillah, ibn sabil. So 4 groups had lam, 4 groups had fi. Lams has a different meaning in Arabic than fi. Mufassirin, the exegetes of the Quran, they have mentioned different explanations. Allama Tabatabai mixes some of these explanations and comes to this conclusion that Fuqara, Masakin, Amilin, Mu'allafa, the 4 groups first, they become owners of what is given to them as zakat. So faqir, a poor person, will be given a part of zakat and he shall own it. But riqab, the slaves are not to be owners of that money. No, the money is given to their masters in order to free them. Gharimin also, the person in debt does not, excuse me, not gharimin, the next one, fi sabilillah. Now we ignore gharimin, we will come back to it. Fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillah also is not a person to own anything. Fi sabilillah, in Allah's way. So you spend on jihad, you spend on infrastructure, on schools, on roads. So this is not to give some money to a person and make him the owner of that money. So fi sabilillah, again fi is used. So for riqab, slaves, and fi sabilillah, we don't use lam, which indicates ownership. What about the other 2, the remaining ones, gharimin and ibn sabil? These 2 are again owners, because the person in debt, you give him some money and you make the person owner of that money so that he can give this money to the creditor. So why lam is not used here again? Allama Tabatabai says the order of these 4 groups is according to their importance. So it starts with al-fuqara al-masakin, which is more important, and then you have a list of other groups who can also receive a part of zakat, but they come next in significance and importance. So this is the reason behind this classification. Gharimin is number 6. In that ranking, Gharimin stands number 6. And Ibn Sabil is the last one, number 8. So they must be put between Mu'allafa, fi riqab and fi sabilillah. Because in ranking, they don't come after Mu'allafa. They come after slaves, after fi riqab. So when we phrase in this manner, a reader may think that gharimin is connected to riqab, is atf to riqab, while it is not atf to riqab, it is after riqab. But it is not atf to riqab in a sense that the word fi is connected to it. No. We have 2 words, lam lil fuqara in the beginning and fi in between. So lam is for al-fuqara and masakin and amilin and mu'allafa and gharimin and ibn sabil. So 6 of them, they have lam. Only 2 of them have fi, riqab and sabilillah. These 2 are separate because these 2 do not become owners of that portion of zakat. But God did not mention fi sabilillah and fi riqab at the end, because this order is based on a ranking, and then that ranking must be observed. وَمِنْهُمُ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ النَّبِيَّ وَيَقُولُونَ هُوَ أُذُونَ. Some of the hypocrites, they abuse the Prophet. يُؤْذُونَ النَّبِيَّ. What do they say? يَقُولُونَ هُوَ أُذُونَ. They say he is an ear. They meant that many Muslims, many people, they go to the Prophet, they give him different reports, and he believes them all. He's like an ear. He does not discern which one is true, which one is false. He's so simple. This is what they meant. قُلْ أُذُنُ خَيْرٍ لَكُمْ. Say, he is an ear of goodness for you. يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَيُؤْمِنُ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He believes in Allah and he believes the believers. He believes the Muslims. Udhun khair is explained in two ways. One is that he is listening to something which is good, and that is wahy, revelation from God. Who among you listens to God? He is the one who listens to Allah's word. So this is one explanation. But a second explanation, which is more supported by exegetes of the Quran, is that his way of listening is good for you. Not the content, not what he listens to. No, the way he listens is good for you. Because he listens to everyone who goes to him. That person may say true or false things, good or bad things. But he does not reject anyone. He does not accuse anyone of telling lies, even if the report is not true. And the Prophet knows it is not true, but he does not accuse the person. The Prophet believes him, saying that, in his heart, okay, this person may have understood the reality in this way. So his intention is not to tell a lie, though what he says is not the truth, but he may think that this is the reality. So he respects the person and he does not accuse the person. It is the best way of listening to people. يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَيُؤْمِنُ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He believes Muslims. وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. See, مُؤْمِنِينَ آمَنُوا. Mu'minin refers to the whole Muslim community, including true believers and hypocrites. But الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ, those who believe from among you, the true believers. He's a mercy for only true believers. So now he treats all of you with a good manner. Does not accuse anyone. But those who have the true belief, they are the ones who receive his mercy. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. Those who abuse the Prophet, they will have painful punishment. يَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ لَكُمْ لِيُرْضُوكُمْ. They swear by Allah to make you, to satisfy you. وَاللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَحَقُّ أَن يُرْضُوهُ. God and his messenger are worthier to be satisfied if they are really believers. أَحَقُّ أَن يُرْضُوهُمَا must be said, because Allah and Rasul, it is two, not one. So dual pronoun must be used. But singular pronoun was used in order to avoid this possibility that one may think any person equal to Allah, so that a dual pronoun refers to Allah and that person, even if that person is the Prophet. أَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّهُ مَنْ يُحَادِدِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَأَنَّ لَهُ نَارَ جَهَنَّمَ. They didn't know that whoever opposes, muhadda means to reach the extreme in opposition. Whoever opposes Allah and his messenger, فَأَنَّ لَهُ نَارَ جَهَنَّمَ. For him shall be fire of hell, خَالِدًا فِيهَا, and he will remain there forever. ذَلِكَ الْخِزْيُ الْعَظِيمُ. This is the great humiliation. يَحْذَرُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ أَن تُنَزَّلَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُورَةٌ. This ayah is also about hypocrites and munafiqun. Allah Ta'ala says, this verse and the coming verses show that a certain event had happened after Muslims left Medina for Tabuk and before their return to Medina. In the way. And because in one of the coming verses, Allah says, فَإِن رَجَعَكَ اللَّهُ إِلَى طَائِفَةٍ, if God brings you back to a group of them. So you're not now in Medina. That God says, bring you back. So it is before reaching Medina. And Allama says, these ayat verses show that a group of hypocrites, they were planning a conspiracy against the Prophet to harm the person of the Prophet, either by killing or doing something. And God disclosed their secret plan to the Prophet. And then they were threatened by the Prophet to war. يَحْذَرُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ, they are afraid, they are cautious. أَن تُنَزَّلَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُورَةٌ, that a surah may be revealed, عَلَيْهِمْ means about them. A surah may be revealed about them, تُنَبِّئُهُمْ بِمَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ, a surah which informs them and give them the news of what is in their hearts, so that their secrets may be disclosed. They were afraid of that. It shows that in the past they had seen some of their secrets were disclosed, though they didn't have real belief in God, in Allah's revelation. So they thought that probably some Muslims spied on them and gave the news to the Prophet. But anyway, they were afraid that a surah may be recited by the Prophet in which their secrets are disclosed, like what happened in the past. Say, go on mockery, mocking. God named their hypocrisy, their nifaq, istihza, and mockery. And Allah mukhrijum ma tahdharun. God will expose what you fear. وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ, if you ask them, لَيَقُولُنَّ إِنَّمَا كُنَّا نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ, they say, we were just playing, we were just speaking idly, نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ, we were not serious. قُلْ أَبِاللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ كُنْتُمْ تَسْتَهْزِئُونَ, say, are you ridiculing Allah and His verses and His messenger? So it shows something was revealed. Something had become evident to the Prophet. Now they are trying to make some excuse to justify. So it is clear that it was known they were doing something about the Prophet, about Allah, about Allah's ayat and messenger. But they say, okay, it was not serious. You were just saying something without serious intention. نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ, we were just playing. About what? About Allah, about Rasul. So now it has become clear that the subject was the Prophet. The subject of their conversation, that conspiracy that they were doing, it was the Prophet. But in order to save themselves from that situation, that they said this conversation was not real. It was not actual, it was not serious. It was not serious. It was just نَخُوضُ وَنَلْعَبُ, we were just playing, saying something without real intention. Now God blames them, because now they replaced one sin with another sin, but it is against another sin. They said, no, we did not commit that sin of conspiracy against the Prophet, but we were saying some words about the Prophet. That was to ridicule the Prophet. That is also another sin. So you're justifying with another sin. These indications support that those ahadith which talk about al-Aqaba, where 12 people from hypocrites, munafiqeen, they made a plan to assassinate the Prophet in his way back to Medina, in a very narrow road in the mount during night. So they were planning to do something to the Prophet, to harm the Prophet, to kill the Prophet, but it was revealed. And now they are justifying what they were doing and what they were saying among themselves. لا تعتذروا قد كفرتم بعد إيمانكم. Don't make excuses. You have disbelieved after your faith. Even that faith also was not a real faith. That was an apparent faith. But now you have disclosed your unfaith. إن نعفو عن طائفة منكم, if we forgive a group of you, نعذب طائفة, we shall punish another group. لأنهم كانوا مجرمين, because they were sinners. It means that we may not punish you in this world all. You may punish, we may waiver the punishment of some, but others will be punished. It is not about the day of judgment, because that punishment is for them all. But here in this world, okay, there may be cases. المنافقون والمنافقات بعضهم من بعض يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر. In the previous ayah, it was said that some groups may be punished. One may think that they are punished because of the crimes of others. This ayah says, no, all of them, they are sinners. So they deserve punishment. المنافقون والمنافقات, the hypocrites, men and women, بعضهم من بعض, they are from one another. They are one community. يأمرون بالمنكر. Now, what are their characteristics? They do أمر بالمنكر النهي عن المعروف, the opposite to obligations. Enjoining the evil and forbidding the good. ويقبضون أيديهم. They close their hands. It means they don't spend. They don't give zakat. They don't give the obligatory alms. نسوا الله فنسيهم. They forget God, so God forgets them. إن المنافقين هم الفاسقون. The hypocrites are فاسق, are transgressors. وعد الله المنافقين والمنافقات والكفار. Now kuffar are added, because the reality is the same, just the appearance is different. God promises the hypocrites, men and women, and disbelievers, نار جهنم خالدين فيها, hellfire, خالدين فيها, they will remain there forever. هي حسبهم, that punishment is for them, it does not reach others, it is for munafiqeen and kuffar. وَلَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ, they are cursed by Allah. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُقِيمٌ, they have lasting punishment. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.